Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and let's start with the simple reality today. So today is a billions of dollars are controlled entirely by the smart contracts, not by banks, not by centralized services, but by the code running on blockchain. Smart contracts power almost everything in the decentralized finance systems. They run a decentralized exchanges, lending protocols, stable coin systems, NFT marketplaces, DAO governance systems, and cross-chain bridges that moves assets between the blockchain. Protocols like Uniswap, Aave, Maker, Curve, and many others operators fully autonomous financial infrastructures. Inside these smart contracts there are unanimous pools of values. So some protocols manage hundreds and billions or even millions or even a billions dollars on assets, and all of that are the values secured by the one thing, but the correctness of code. But this creates a very unusual situations compared to the traditional software systems. In a Web 2, if a company discover vulnerability, the developer can quickly fix a code and put a push up page on that. And according to that, servers are updated, backend code is changes, the issue is fixed. But smart contracts don't work like that. Smart contracts are immutable by design. Once a contract is deployed on a blockchain like Ethereum, its code becomes extremely difficult to modify. This means if a vulnerability exists in the code, it becomes a permanent attack surface. And unlike a traditional system, smart contracts are completely transparent. Anyone in the world can read the contract code, analyze that, stimulate transactions, and try to find the ways to exploit it. This create a very adversarial environment. Developer publish the code, and attackers study that. And sometimes attackers discover the weakness before the developers do. And because of that, Web3 ecosystem has experienced some of the largest financial exploit in the history of the software systems. We have we have seen attacking involving flash loan manipulations, Oracle price manipulations, re-entrancy attacks, governance takeovers, breach validated compromise, and the complex economic exploit that we are already the talk about the whole vulnerabilities in the others videos also in the detailed way. And some of these incidents insulated in the losses of hundreds of millions of dollars in a single attack. But these incidents are not just a random accidents. They reveal a deeper lessons about the how decentralized financial systems behave. Many of these exploits did not happen because of a simple coding mistake. Instead of they happen because of the complex infrastructure between the protocols, economic incentives, and the blockchain mechanisms. So, in this video, we are going to explore the security landscape of decentralized finance, and we will break down like that way the most common types of smart contract attacks, real website where you can track DeFi exploits. So you can learn from that also. Platform where security researchers practice auditing, because if you want to smart contract auditing, you have to be a good, you have to good practice on that. Like more contracts you solve or auditing, that you get a more experience. And the some kind of bug boundary programs also for the vulnerability can earn large rewards also if you can find that vulnerability, and you can get a more rewards. The tools and the tools developer use to analyze to secure smart contracts. If you are interested in the smart contract development, DeFi infrastructures, or blockchain security, understanding these vulnerabilities is essential, because in Web3, the code is not just a software, the code is the financial system itself. So, we can start with the why Web3 security matters, why Web3 security is important, so important. So to understand why smart contract security is such a big topic today, we first need to be understand the fundamental difference between the Web 2 systems and Web 3 systems. In traditional Web 2 applications, security breaches usually involves the data theft. Uh, so that companies' data, for example, like their passwords, their email address, or credit card numbers, or personal information, they can like a theft. These breaches are serious, but the system themselves usually remain operational. The company can reset the password, update infrastructures, and recover that. But in Web 3, the situation is completely the different. Smart contracts don't just manage data, they manage a real financial assets, like a money. You can be called a money. Inside a DeFi protocols, smart contracts control collateral deposits, liquidity pools, stable coins or reserves, traditional assets, and governance tokens. These contracts hold fund directly on chain. When the user deposit tokens into the lending protocol or a liquidity pool, those assets are no longer controlled by the company. They are controlled entirely by the smart contract logic. This means its vulnerability exists in the contract. The attacker don't need to hack the server. They don't need to break the encryptions. They simply interact with the protocol exactly as a smart contract allows. And if the protocol logic has weaknesses, the attacker can exploit those rules to extract the value. This one of the most important ideas in DeFi security. Many attackers are not breaking the system. They are about to using the system exactly as it is was designed, but in a ways developer did not anticipate. Another factor that makes Web3 security challenging and composability. DeFi protocols consistently interact with each other. And for example, like a lending protocol may depend on a price data from the Oracle. The Oracle may read prices from the decentralized exchange. And the exchanges may depend on the liquidity pools that they contain the tokens from the protocol. So the interconnected structures allow developers to build extremely powerful financial system, but it also create a complex dependency. If the one of the component behaves unexpectedly, the effects can cascade through the multiple protocols. This is exactly the how many DeFi exploits occur. Attackers manipulate one part of system which cause the another protocol to behave incorrectly. Like if there is something like exchange depend on liquidity pool, if they manipulate liquidity pool, then the exchanges get informations very wrong. If they something doing in the decentralized exchange, the hack or something doing that, then also the protocols are making a wrong decisions. So attacker manipulate the one part of the system which can cause another protocol behave incorrectly. And another major factor that changed the security landscape of DeFi is something called the flash loans. Flash loan allows user to borrow a massive amount of capital without a collateral. So the only requirement is that loan must be repaid in the same transactions. So now, like that means attackers can temporary control of tens and even hundreds and even $1 million in liquidity. They may manipulate the market, interact with the pools, extract the profit, all within a single blockchain transaction. Because of this, modern DeFi attackers often combine multiple techniques together, and that is also the one example. An attacker might take a flash loan and manipulate the token price, so trigger that liquidation event and withdraw asset before the transaction finish. All of that happen automatically in the one transaction. Over the past few years, we have seen many high-profile exploits that demonstrate this risk. One of the earliest and the most famous incident was the DAO hack in 2016, which is the involved the re-entrancy vulnerabilities in decentralized investment fund. Later, we saw the major bridges exploit like Rohin bridge hack, Wormhole bridge hack, or Nomad bridge hack. This incident involves vulnerability in a cross-chain infrastructures. More recently, DeFi protocols have experienced economic exploits such as Illure Finance and Mango Markets. These attacks involve manipulations of the protocol logic and market condition rather than the simple coding bugs. What of these incidents have in common in that re- they reveal how difficult it is to secure decentralized finance system. Developer build DeFi infrastructures are not just writing software. They are designing the permissionless financial system that operate in adversarial environment. Every line of code must assume that someone will attempt to break it. And This is the exactly why the demand of the smart contract auditors and the security researchers has grown so quickly. Security researchers analyze the protocol, identify the vulnerabilities, and help protect the ecosystem before attackers exploit those weaknesses. In many cases, security researchers can earn significant rewards through bug bounties programs and audit competitions. But more importantly, they play a crucial role in making a decentralized financial system safer and the resilience. So this is the part of like why this is matter. Now I think you understand why this is whole things matter the security. So there is a category of smart contract attacks. We already talk about this. There is a types of smart contract attacks. In my previous video, we explained the each of that vulnerabilities in the detail in real exploit example also, Solidity code and mitigation techniques. So if you want to understand exactly the how attacks work, how developer prevent them, then I highly recommend it that watching that video. Here I quickly show you the major categories that vulnerabilities that appear most often when auditing smart contracts and the DeFi protocol. These are the types of issues security researchers actively look for during an audit. Core smart contract vulnerabilities are these are the like I am telling the classic vulnerabilities in the directly in the smart contract. There is a reentrancy, integer overflow underflow, access control vulnerabilities, delegate misuse, unutilized uninitialized storage collision in upgradable smart contracts, signature replay attacks, self-destruct vulnerabilities, and there is like economic DeFi vectors also. The economic and DeFi attack vectors. This attack exploit economic logic of protocol. So not just only the coding mistake, but the economic logic of protocol also. So that is a flash loan attacks, oracle manipulations, liquidation manipulations, AMM price manipulations, protocol logic errors, and blockchain level surface and the other one is like blockchain level attack surface. This attack involves a blockchain execution environment. You have to remember that first vulnerability in we can found in the smart contract code. Second is the economic logic protocols and only the node code. So there is a two kind of, and the third one is blockchain execution environment vulnerability. So that is a MEV and the front running sandwich attacks, timestamp manipulations, weak randomness. These all are the blockchain levels attack surface. And the system design, and the fourth one is system design and architecture risk. These vulnerabilities come from the protocol architecture decisions, how the protocol works. This that decision that vulnerability happen. That is a cross-chain breach exploit, governance attack, upgradable smart contract risk, gas griefing attackers, denial of service attacks. So these are the all kind of vulnerabilities that happen with the smart contract code and some other parts of that protocols and blockchain execution. Which vulnerability happen most often today? So looking at the recent DeFi exploit across the system, the most common attack vectors is today include the oracle manipulations, flash loan based on the economic attacks, breach exploits, access control mistakes, upgradable contracts, vulnerabilities. Many modern attackers actually combine several of vulnerabilities together. For example, an attacker might take a flash loan and manipulate the price oracle, trigger then after the trigger a liquidation event and extract the profit from that protocol. So that all inside in a single blockchain transaction. This whole vulnerability is combined and that is making that exploit in a single blockchain transactions. So what is the key idea? Understanding this vulnerability is the foundation of smart contract security, because when auditors review a protocol, they are consistently asking a question like, can this function is re-entered? Can prices be manipulated? Are admin permissions secure? Uh, can governance be attacked? Is the upgradable system safe? That all are the questions when we audit the contract. Then they ask from their self to code and like that way. And this is the best way to learn these patterns in by the study of real exploit happening across the system. So in the next section, we are explore website where you can track the real DeFi hacks analyze the exploit reports, and study how attackers actually break the smart contracts. So here is a part that websites where you can study and see real DeFi hacks. Now, now that we understand the different types of smart contracts vulnerability, the next important step is the learning how to study real exploits. So because the best way to understand this security is not just reading theory, it analyzing real incidents that happens in the production protocols. Where a DeFi protocol get hacked, security researchers carefully analyze that what happened. Examine They see in that like the vulnerability of smart contract happen, the attacker transactions, the economic manipulations used, and the exact weakness that allow this exploit. Fortunately, these are the several websites that document these incidents in detail. Already the whatever the exploit is happen and how that happen, that all the transactions and all the incidents they are giving in the detailed format, so the any security researchers, auditors, developers use this platform and study the attack patterns and learn from the past mistake by the other developers or user auditor or so there is a one of that is the blockthread.com or the rect news that already we see here. So the rect news, after that we see that. So first is the rect news. If you are deeply understand how DeFi exploit actually happened, rect news is the one of the most best resource available. Rect news is published detailed postmortem like a any person postmortem happen that like a any DeFi hacks also postmortem happen. Then postmortem report and the major crypto exploits are beautifully defined in the rect news. So each article typically explain the entire step-by-step incident how that happened. So for the example, rect report usually includes the timeline of the attack, how the attacker discovered this vulnerability by in the code or somewhere else, the exact technical flow in the smart contract, the amount of funds stolen, and the response from the protocol team. What are the responses happen from that team? So this report are extremely valuable because they break down the exploit in a narrative format that is easy to follow. For example, if the breach exploit occurs, the report might explain how the attackers bypassed the signature verification logic, how fake transactions were created, and how funds were withdrawn from the breach contract. Many professional security researchers read rec news regularly to understand real attack techniques used in wild. So so when you are learning smart contract security, reading this exploit report can give a much deeper understanding than just a reading vulnerability descriptions. Then the other is DeFi Llama Hex dashboard. That is also one of that. Um, so another, this is also the one of that good resources. So that is extremely useful resource of DeFi Llama Hex dashboard. DeFi Llama is widely known for the DeFi analytics platform that tracks a total lock value across the protocol. But it also maintains the detailed database of major DeFi exploit. On this page, you can see the list of the historical hacks across the entire ecosystem. For each incident, the dashboard shows the information such as the name of affected protocols, the date when the exploit occurs, the estimated financial losses, the sometimes the vulnerability category also. This gives the developers very clear picture how large the security problem actually is. For example, when you scroll through the dashboard, you might see the exploit involving see exploit involving you might see exploit involving breach vulnerabilities, Oracle manipulations, flash loan attacks, smart contract logic errors. This resources is useful to understand how frequently attack occur, and when and which sectors of DeFi are the most vulnerable. You will also notice that some of the largest losses in a crypto history came from the cross-chain breach exploit, which shows the how complex infrastructure increases this risk. The other is the Solidity, like is the name of Solidity. Solidity is other also extremely important platform of smart contract security researcher. Unlike the previous websites, this which focus on the exploit report, Solidity acts more like a vulnerability knowledge base. So it aggregates the thousand of vulnerabilities discovered during the professional security audits and the bug bounty program also they have. Security researchers can search this database to study specific vulnerability types. For example, as you can search an issue for the re-entrancy vulnerability, then they shows the each entry and how many exploits they have, and according to that exploit, they all see together. And like searches by you can searches by re-entrancy vulnerability, Oracle price manipulation, integer overflow bugs, and signature replay attacks, access control mistakes. That each entry typically includes the vulnerability description, the affected code snippets, and the recommended mitigations also. This makes a solid encryptability. This makes Solidity incrementally valuable for the learning how vulnerabilities actually appear in the real smart contract code base. When auditors analyze the protocol, they often reference platforms like a Solidity to compare patterns the previously discovered the issues. In many ways, Solidity acts like a search engine for the smart contract vulnerabilities. So the same of the code or protocol or something that issue already happened, then we not repeat itself. That Immunify also, the website is Immunify. It's the most important platform of the Web3 security ecosystem. Immunify is the largest bug bounty platform for the security researcher. There is a bug bounty platform, so you can, if you there is a many smart contracts are put there. If you find that whatever the bug is in that contract and what big the like how much the big that bug you can solve that, then that smart contract give you the bug bounty. If you search a bug, then you can get a bounty. That bounty is according to, I think you bounty is according to how big your bug is, how you find the big, um, how much the big of bug is. The instead of waiting for the hackers to exploit vulnerabilities, so protocols invite the security researchers to find vulnerability responsibly responsibility. So researchers analyze the protocol, smart contracts. If they discover valid vulnerability, they report it privately. And if the vulnerability is confirmed, the researcher receive that reward. This rewards is known as the bug bounties. Some of the bug bounties are immunify are extremely large also. So in some cases, reward can exist $1 million to critical vulnerabilities, like too much critical vulnerability. If you find and if you that solve that, then you can get a $1 million also in that. Not all of that, the sum of that. Because of this, many professional security researchers are actively participate in the bug bounty program, because for that program help protocol to improve security while they rewarding a researchers of the responsible disclosure also. For developer interested in the smart contract security, platform like Immunify provide a real opportunity to practice a vulnerability research and the potentially earned rewards. So now let's see. So now let's see that all the websites that we are talking about that. Here you can say the blog thread that is a available. What are the threads happen? They are giving in the deep things. That some of the paid membership also, but some of that blogs you can see like that way. What kind of things in that happen? This like April 2026 most hacked in the blockchain, and there is a name of that all the happen hack like breaking point of ethical security, and the more detail about that you can see that in which date that is happen, that all have this all details according to that hack that is featured here. The rect news that we are talking about is like this way. There have a many are there. You can see that they have a 304 things, and the how much amount they are stolen in that hack. They're also showing like that. You can see by the research search here. You can see search here, and you can see video here. You can research on something proper, explore some any vulnerability or any name of vulnerability. So you can see here more and more detail about that. Then DeFi Olama is like this way. They have a hack, how many the protocol logic and the CL pool accounting hack, and what language that hack happened. You can see the all the details of that with here. And also we see about the Solidity. Solidity is like this way. You can hear the search re-entrancy. Then they can see that one of the hack happen. One of the contract code is there. If you like find this, you have to solve this also. How much like low filter also the low, medium, high impact, what kind of category you want to solve this. So you can see here, and you can find and start to auditing the contract from here. Here is the all descriptions, how the recommendations and all of that things happen here. Then we see about the immunify also. Immunify studio. Here we can see the bug bounty programs here. So the view bounty and the how many the you can see bounty here for this if you solve the bug, and the submit bug here, and all the code and all the things given in this. So these are the programs that we can use for the solve the any hack that is happened, and we have this all the informations here. And there is a one more I want to show you. Like this is the web3 is going great.com. They have a leaderboard, contribute, newsletter, all of that things. And they are explaining technical vulnerabilities of in that happens and all the details according to that. So like this is the interesting another interesting resources in the web3 is going great. This website is tracks major incidents across the broader crypto ecosystems. And unlike the other platforms, which is focused specifically on technical vulnerabilities, this site documented many different kinds of events also. For example, the smart contract logics, exchange hacks, protocol failure, rug pulls, and the large financial losses in the crypto project. The website organized the events in chronological timeline. So you can see there a chronological timeline, and this gives the viewer broader perspective to how security incidents have evolved over the time of the blockchain industry. So while some entries involve technical exploit, other high risk highlight the risk related to governance failures or economic design problems. Study Studying these incidents helps the developers understand the security in Web3 is not just about the code, but also about system design and intensive structure. So this all the things you can find, you can see in the bug bounty also, and you can get a more knowledge about what kind of exploit with the code and all that much you can see, and what details you find and get a more knowledge with that all the sites and all the hack that happen already. So we are going to the next section is by studying this platform like this, a developer and the security researchers can analyze the real world incidents and understand how attacker exploit weakness in the smart contract DeFi protocols. But the learning exploits reports is only the one part to becoming a security researcher. The next step is actually practicing the smart contract auditing yourself. So in the next section, we are explore the platform where developers can practice auditing smart contracts, participating in the security competitions, and even rewards or discovering vulnerabilities by its own self. So here I think our this topic is going to go more. So all the real DeFi hacks where you can study that all things and all other details we see in this part 1. And after this, we can see the all details in the part 2, so you can understand and you can not bored in the one lecture. So goodbye everyone. We will continue this in the next part, and that is like what are the security challenges and what are the things you can do